Tonight we pay homage to the game of soccer in its beginnings here in the United States of America as Detroit City FC plays host to Glentoran FC of the Northern Irish Premiership. It's the DCFC International Series brought to you by Strategic Staffing Solutions. The Glens and the Rouge coming up next. Live stream coverage of the Detroit City Football Club is brought to you by your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. Visit ChevyDetroit.com and see why Chevy drives the Motor City. Good evening, everybody, and welcome inside historic Keyworth Stadium, where tonight we pay homage to the game of soccer here in the United States of America. Alongside my broadcast partner, John Krieger, my name is Neil Rule. Happy to have you with us wherever you may be watching around the world. Tonight, a very special occasion here at Keyworth as DCFC plays host to Glentoran FC. Why is this significant? Glentoran FC actually was one of the 12 founding members of the U.S. Soccer Association back in 1967. What they did was they took clubs from all over the world and they represented cities here in America. The Detroit Cougars, a.k.a. Glentoran FC, are the representatives, and they are back here today in 2017 at Keyworth Stadium. A lot of history with this match here today, John.
There is indeed a lot of history. Going back 50 years, the Irish League champions at the time, they were well respected around Europe, and that's why they caught the eye of William Clay Ford. He sent an envoy to say, would you fancy a trip to the United States? We'll guarantee everything, we'll pay your wages, and you get a chance to get soccer off the ground in the USA. They played for one season. Detroit took to them, and they're back here again 50 years later to honor what really was the beginning of the soccer revolution in the United States.
And of course, tonight's match, part of the DCFC International Series, brought to you by Strategic Staffing Solutions. And John, as you look out onto the field tonight, some special kits being worn as you're modeling right now, but both teams will be paying homage to the Detroit Cougar days.
Well, I'll tell you what, when they look this good, you've got to wear a jersey like this. I'm happy to put it on tonight, and I know both sides are as well. But what really both those commemorative kits tell us is that tonight is the story not only of the Cougars, but of the growth of the game in Detroit. Because whether you're sitting on the family side with the away fans tonight or over with the best supporters in all of sports, the Northern Guard, what we're seeing is that organic homegrown soccer has taken root to the point where we can have a tribute match like this and wear kits like these.
Absolutely, John. Let's take a look at the starting lineups here for Detroit City FC, brought to you by the Henry Ford Health System. And John, you and I were talking before we went on the air, a very definite message being sent here by Ben Pierman and the starting 11 he's running out tonight.
Yeah, that's a very strong starting 11. Ben Pierman knows he needs to get his team back right. They haven't started the NPSL season the way they'd like to, and they're going with that classic 4-3-3. He's going to use tonight a chance to step away, get ready to get back into the league season. You're seeing a lot of big names for City coming out early to try to get some of that cohesion we saw in preseason back.
When we come back, we turn back the clock to 1967. It'll be the Glens and the Rouge, and we have the action for you coming up next.
During the week, I sit at a desk. On the weekends, I'm a DIY warrior, thanks to my 2016 Chevy Silverado. With its high-strength steel frame, my Silverado can take on any project. Add in its towing power and ability to keep me connected, my Silverado is the perfect tool for all my jobs.
Lease a 2017 Silverado 1LT 4-wheel drive All-Star Edition for just $219 a month for 36 months. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City.
My passion is architecture. I don't want to sit around passively studying. I need to create. In our architecture studios at Lawrence Tech, we collaborate with students, faculty, and professionals from around the world. And from day one, we design using the same industry standard software that architecture firms use. I really feel like I'm designing my own future here. Lawrence Tech. Possible is everything.
Welcome back inside historic Keyworth Stadium. We're in Hamtramck, Michigan. We're just about ready to roll here as Detroit City FC plays host to Glentoran FC. As the match atmosphere here at Keyworth, as you see, the fans getting excited. Everybody's ready to go. And John, this is such a special match when you look at the shaping of soccer as we know it in the United States of America. We talked about it a little bit in the open. But really, when you break all this down, everybody that's in this stadium, the reason we're here behind this microphone tonight is the work that Glentoran FC did here as the Detroit Cougars that 50 years ago. Very special what they did back then, and very special to pay a tribute to it now.
Yeah, you know, you're absolutely right. They were the first to come over. And if you look at the participating teams from that initial USL, I'm going to give you some of the names of the ownership groups, okay? You had Lamar Hunt. He owned the Dallas Tornado, brought over Dundee United. William Clay Ford, Jack Kent Cook, the MSG Group, who is back into soccer with NYCFC. These people knew early on that this game had a future in this country, and so they put their money where their mouth was, right. Guaranteed the contracts, brought them over, and they thought Detroit was a market that could work. And so that brings me to my number of the game. The average attendance for the Cougars at Tiger Stadium in 1967 was just over 5,000 people. That's telling, because the average attendance here at Keyworth is just over 5,000 people. So from 1967, where 5,000 plus watched professionals, we have an organic, homegrown club here in Detroit in the fourth tier of the U.S. football pyramid that routinely draws that number on a match-by-match basis. And that shows how the seeds that were planted back in 1967, a difficult year for the city of Detroit, later on in the year after the Glentoran team had left us, has come to fruition. The seeds have been sown, and now we see Detroit City getting to the point where they could welcome the Cougars back and really get a foothold and show the world what Detroit football, what Detroit soccer can do.
So right now we're going to send you down to the field. We're going to go to the walkout with LaRouge, presented by Metro PCS. This week the players are joined by the St. Clair Shores Select. So we will send it over to the PA announcer, Ted Shoemaker, in just a couple seconds here as the walkout with LaRouge begins. Again, this is brought to you by Metro PCS.
Well, team's waiting just a little bit to come out here on the pitch at Keyworth. City will be in their commemorative kits tonight. I got a chance to wear one. It always feels good. And here come LaRouge. The match ball being delivered.
The ball delivery brought to you by Strategic Staffing Solutions. Neil Rule, John Krieger with you here at historic Keyworth Stadium. A lot of buzz, a lot of energy here in and around the pitch. And the crowd ready to welcome in LaRouge and Glentoran. Again, we are turning back the clock 50 years to this matchup. The Detroit Cougars really got soccer going in the city of Detroit from the professional side. And we've seen that come to fruition all the way across the board, really across the entire United States of America. And that's what's brought us here tonight. Really, when you boil it all down, that's what started it all here in the United States.
That pennant, by the way, that you see there, Neil, is a tradition in international football. Typically a gift or some kind of commemoration is given between the two teams, and you'll see those kept in trophy cases. It's done before big matches, cup finals, World Cup games, and so that pennant there is Detroit City's contribution. It will be presented to Glentoran, and Glentoran will give something back. That's a long standard of international football.
When you look at this Glentoran FC side as well, I mean, they're in the Northern Irish Premiership, 12 all-time appearances in the UEFA Champions League. So this side here in Glentoran, 18 all-time appearances in the Europa League as well. This is a club very steeped in tradition, a quality side. And now we will send it out to the walkout with LaRouge, brought to you by Metro PCS.
Our title sponsor, Metro Detroit Chevy Dealers, welcome you to tonight's International Series match presented by Strategic Staffing Solutions. Please welcome Glentoran FC and your Detroit City Football Club. Alongside Detroit City FC for tonight's walkout with LaRouge, presented by Metro PCS, are the St. Clair Shores Select. Thanks to Metro PCS, the official wireless provider of DCFC. And now for tonight's starting lineups, presented by Henry Ford Health System. For Glentoran, number 1, Elliot Morris. Number 3, Ross Redmond. Number 4, Trey Sterling. Number 6, James Farron. Number 7, Eric Foley. Number 17, Paul O'Neill. Number 10, John McGuigan. Number 2, Daniel Kelly. Number 12, Connell Delaney. Number 16, Salu Jallo. Number 11, Corey McMullen. Manager of Glentoran FC is Gary Haverin. Your officials for tonight's match are Nick Balser, Adrian McDonald, Igor Resnick, and Adam Carlson. And now, for your hometown Detroit City FC's starting 11. Number 33, Derek Otem. Number 22, Mauricio Castorino. Number 21, Aaron Franco. Number 14, Zach Bach. Number 10, Cyrus Sadie. Number 9, Sean Lawson. Number 5, Stephen Carroll. Number 3, Spencer Glass. Number 2, Owen Hoskins. Number 30, Colin Miller. And your captain tonight, number 18, David Edwardson. Head coach of Detroit City FC is Ben Bierman. Technical advisor is Klaus DeBoer. Assistant coaches are Jordan Andrews, Josh Rogers, and Brett Mullen. Ladies and gentlemen, at this moment, we ask that you please rise and join us in observing a moment of silence for all those affected by the recent events in Manchester. Thank you. Now please remain standing for the national anthem of Northern Ireland, led by Glentoran FC supporters.
We don't play it here, you guys just gotta sing.
Thank you. And now for the Star Spangled Banner, led by Detroit City FC supporters.
Welcome back here inside Keyworth Stadium. Let's take a look at the kickoff weather. 72 degrees and partly cloudy. It's a beautiful day to ride up to Keyworth. And if you do, and for all those that did, DCFC has them covered with a free bike valet provided by the Wheelhouse Detroit, with locations in Hamtramck and downtown Detroit. Perfect day here today in the greater Detroit area. Perfect evening for soccer. And we got a good one here. Glentoran FC out of the Northern Irish Premiership. And of course, Detroit City FC ready to get things going. And you get a look, and we're getting tweets, and all night long you can send tweets at us with the hashtag WatchCity. Already we're getting a tweet from NGS Louisville that says, love those orange socks on the Glentoran kits. And John, I have to say, the sock game of our friends from Northern Ireland is strong to quite strong, with a green arrow trending up.
Yes, absolutely. And I'll tell you what, something to be said for Glentoran, because before this friendly were even announced, Glentoran had designed this kit for their season, their away kit for the Dunsbank Irish, or the Dunsbank NIFL Premiership in Northern Ireland, was this Detroit Cougars inspired kit. So they've been celebrating this for a very long time. There's a plaque that commemorates the Cougars in their club ground in East Belfast, and they're very proud of that legacy. And so the Cougars have been with them all season to their 9th place finish in the Dunsbank Premiership, and we're glad to have them here on this May evening in Detroit.
So we got you the starters for both sides as we're just about ready to kick things off. And there's a look at the coach of Glentoran FC, Gary Haverson, was named the manager here for Glentoran in September of 2016. Now, he led the Carrick Rangers to a trophy treble back in 2014-15, winning the NIFL-ship, the Steel and Sons Cup, and the Intermediate Cup as well. This guy can flat out coach soccer, and he can flat out win games.
He can, and you know what? He's got some ambition for this club as well. Gary Haverson just competed his European Pro license course. That's one of the courses that you need to, one of the badges you need to acquire to coach in the upper levels of the game and also to coach in European competition, the Europa League, the Champions League. It's one of the badges they require. He's done the course, 18 months, included travel to Switzerland to be a part of that. He believes this trip to Detroit is a time where his new blood will bed in. He's got some new signings on the squad list today. It's not an on-the-beach kind of friendly. He's looking to see what they have as we get underway.
Detroit City possesses, and Dave Edwardson will swing it out to the left, and we are underway. The opening kickoff, as always, brought to you by Chemical Bank. Detroit City FC in the blacks, Glentoran FC in the whites. And away we go. The first 15 minutes is brought to you by Henry Ford Health System, the official sports medicine provider of Detroit City FC. Neil Rule, John Krieger with you. Happy to have you along here wherever you're watching. DetroitCityFC.com. Of course, our friends at FoxSportsDetroit.com as well. And wherever you're watching, if you're overseas right now, I understand it's just past the midnight hour for our friends in Northern Ireland. So thank you guys for staying up late.
And thanks to Komodo on Twitter. He's out there tweeting at us with the hashtag WatchCity. He's up, and we hope there are a lot of Glen supporters with him as well. By the way, one change to the Glentoran starting 11. Their top scorer, Curtis Allen, who has 67 career goals for the Glens, was in the lineup, in the squad list, in the starting 11 at the number 9 position. He tweaked a leg in pre-match warm-up, and that's where Paul O'Neill has gotten his starting 9.
Yeah, which really is too bad. Curtis Allen was 4th in the Northern Ireland Premiership in goals, had 18 of them this last season. Scored almost 60 goals since joining the Glens in 2014, a top-notch finisher. I'm extremely disappointed personally we won't get an opportunity to see him, but we can take a look at what happened in the pregame, as there you see Curtis Allen going down. He stepped on a cone, actually. So that's just one of those freak things that happen, and it's very sad for us, very sad for the Glentoran FC fans as well, but the band plays on.
Early going, these teams feeling each other out. No real inroads made toward goal.
Long ball served in, that's headed away, and now the play will pick up. Corey McMullen with the opportunity. That ball pressed into the 18 before it's cleared out by City. Corey McMullen, you talked about a lot of new signees for this Glentoran side. He was signed 2 weeks ago. Came over from Ballyclare. Scored 13 goals in 32 matches. So he's very capable of putting the ball in the back of the net.
A couple of other new signings. One, a new signing that's an old signing, and that's number 10, John McGuigan. He's out there in the starting 11 tonight. He was voted the NIFL Championship Player of the Year for Warren Point last season. We talked with Gary Averin before the match, and McGuigan had gotten his start with Glentoran, but couldn't get a game, and so dropped down to the NIFL Championship. He's put his scoring boots on and made 62 first-team appearances for Glentoran. His first time around, he's back with the Glens.
Derek Odom sends it ahead, looking for Jean-Claude Lawson. Lawson going one-on-one. The cross into the box is cleared out, and a throw-in coming for Detroit City. But we see some skill on display from Sean Lawson, the former Oakland Golden Grizzly. Was a multiple-time All-Horizon League performer under Eric Pogue. Scored a lot of big-time goals for the Golden Grizzlies. Of course, multiple bids in the NCAA tournament. They picked up a win along the way against Kentucky. That Ball served out. Another throw in coming.
And that's, by the way, what we want to see for City from Lawson. We want him going down the wings and providing service, and also waiting to let players make runs onto the end of that service. He held up that ball for just a moment. Nice job by the defense to go over and get the block and force it out of play.
So throw in now coming up for the Golden Grizzlies. Zach Bach will toss this one in from Western Michigan, first team All-MAC performer last year. Now Glentoran will be awarded the goal kick. Elliot Morris, the goalkeeper, longtime player for Glentoran, represented Northern Ireland national team in the U21s. The most caps in club history with over 640 matches played. Now, Morris nearly quit the game a couple years ago due to some back pain that he was suffering, but he's able to fight his way through that, the team captain. And John, it's always nice for you when you have old reliable, especially protecting the cage.
Well, especially between the sticks, you're right, Neil. And for keepers, that's something that we see. They're not an outfield player. They don't have to have the fitness to go box to box. You're not looking at having to run kilometers for 90 minutes. But you do need to have experience, and that's what a good keeper has. You look at the likes of Brad Friedel, who was in the Premier League for so long.
Nifty back heel by Sean Lawson. ECMC unable to turn it into much.
Nifty back heel, but also a nice job by the Glens defense to close that down and make sure that back heel didn't turn into anything. And they're getting an experience of Keyworth there as the long bomb forward ball just squirts forward on the artificial pitch here and on a play for a City goal. By the way, while we have a moment, I want to send our condolences to one Glens fan who was going to make the trip over here to Detroit. That's Gervin Wiltshire. He was set to come over to Detroit with his fellow Glens supporters, but stayed home. His father was ailing. He received word through some of the Northern Guard that his father lost his battle last night and has left us. So we're hoping, if you're watching, Gervin, that little Glens and City football is cheering you up.
It takes you away at least for a couple hours. That's the point of all this, right, John? Just kind of a distraction from what's going on. And you can send us tweets here throughout the evening with the hashtag WatchCity. Got a tweet here from Martin Ed 67. Says Colonel Delaney's family's watching from Belfast. Good luck to Glens from the Delaney family.
Well, welcome, Delaney's. Glad to have you along.
Chris Holt got at us as well. Says this is weird watching Glentoran at 20-1 playing in Detroit. We certainly appreciate everybody in and around the Northern Ireland area taking in the match here this evening, or this morning, where you guys are. Here comes Zach Bach on the right side, serves the ball towards the back post. Sean Lawson will settle it down, and City going to work. There's that guy, Cyrus Sadie. Sadie looking to make a move. It's touched away from him. It'll be a corner coming up for LaRouge.
Nice job by Cyrus to turn his man and get service in on goal, but I think I would have liked to see him hold it up. As we look forward, and you look at Cyrus.
Corner set up for Detroit City. And the jockeying for position begins out in front of the goal. That ball served in. It's loose. Shot goes over top of the bar.
A low line for the Glens. They had men on both posts. City took advantage of the ability to crowd Elliot Morris's 6-yard box.
There's a look at the man that took the corner. Mauricio Castorino, Fort Hays State, is a Division II All-American honorable mention at Fort Hays State. Scored 10 goals, had 8 assists that season. Castorino, a newer addition to the starting 11 for Detroit City. And John, you talked about it. Ben Pearman right now, and look, coming off the loss at Ann Arbor, this is an opportunity here tonight for Detroit City to push the reset button, if you will.
Yeah, that's what happens when you have friendlies, or if you're over in Europe. A lot of teams will take a look at the cup competitions. Let's take an example of, say, the English League Cup or the FA Cup. If you're struggling in your league, if you have a run of form that you're not necessarily pleased with, the cup competition or a friendly like this, the chance to set the reset button, to go out there and say, no harm, no foul, no points on the line here tonight. You can go ahead and try to get back some of the swagger you had when Detroit City looked very dominant in preseason. You don't have the pressure of having to put points in the standings column and on the table. And so far today, I like what I see from City. Their shape's a little better. I like the fact that both the right back and left back have gotten forward in Ben Pierman's 4-3-3. The legs look a little bit fresher than they have in the last couple of league outings. And we're seeing a little bit of physical play as well because, frankly, Glentoran, the more physically the more physical team and the more well-built team, they're just coming off of a grueling European season. So a lot of good things so far for City in the opening 19 minutes.
Now the Rouge will play the ball up. They'll come up the right side defensively. And they look to build some possession here. Matriculate their way up the field just a couple moments. Be a special honor for us up here in the booth. We will be joined by Roy Coyle in just a few moments. Of course, a former international player for the Northern Ireland national team, maybe the most successful manager in the history of the Irish Football League.
Nice run there by Conal Delaney. He took it down into the corner, couldn't find anyone to offer service to. City and Glentoran still held up in midfield. Couple of runs for either side.
Now here comes Detroit City again, trying to move up that right side. They're making a concerted effort, John, to really try that right side. They figure they have an advantage over there that they can exploit.
Yeah, they do. And this has been Pierman wanting to work his wings. The City have been they've been trying to get forward in midfield, but they've been working on trying to get the ball forward to their attacking third.
Now it's time for our Better Made Fun Facts. So many facts about the Detroit Cougars and Glentoran. Attendance at the Cougars' first home game at the University of Detroit Stadium on June 4th, 1967 was 11,629. It ended in a 1-1 draw against the Vancouver Royal Canadians. They were represented by Sunderland. So that gives you an idea of the history of this Glentoran FC side and what they did for soccer in America. And right now, as promised, we are joined by a Northern Ireland soccer legend. He is Roy Coyle, taking some time to join us here in the booth. Of course, a former Northern Ireland national team player. Most people say the most successful manager in the history of the Irish Football League. Roy, appreciate having you up here in the booth. Welcome to the United States of America.
Good afternoon, good evening, sorry, and delighted to be here and really enjoying the atmosphere so far. I will have to say the flares, if that was back home, would be severely fined. We'd not be permitted, but it's a great atmosphere.
Roy, and we're getting blown up on the social media, and everybody that's back in Northern Ireland taking it in. I mean, lots of people tweeting in at us. Everybody's excited. It's 1 a.m. back home, isn't it?
Yeah, my wife just rang me before came to the game and she was just going to bed. So I hope she's on her own.
And here's an opportunity for Detroit City with the ball in the box. Dave Everton steps in with a right-footed shot that will trickle wide of the left post. So, Roy, first off, again, welcome up here into the booth. It's great to have you. And I've been talking about this Glentoran FC side and really giving the fans here in America a taste as to what they're all about. This is an organization, 12 all-time appearances in the UEFA Champions League, 18 all-time appearances in the Europa League. I mean, this Glentoran FC side, this is soccer in Northern Ireland.
Yeah, there's two major clubs back home in Northern Ireland, and the history of them is phenomenal. Obviously, my own club, Glentoran Football Club, they were formed in 1882, which is a substantially long time ago. And the other big club in Belfast, or in the Irish League as well, is Linfield Football Club. Both are massive clubs, and both institutions in football regarding back home. And they're steeped in enormous history. The success of both clubs cannot be matched by any other Irish League club back home.
And you had a chance to manage both clubs. And so was there a bit of an interesting transition for you after you'd managed Linfield to come back to Glentoran and be on the touchline for both rivals?
Well, funny enough, I played for Glentoran in the 60s. I just came after the Cougars side, and then I was transferred to England to a team called Sheffield Wednesday. And when I was coming back home in 1975, I couldn't believe I was going to Linfield because I wasn't terribly endeared by the supporters. They would have maybe called me a different name. I call it being competitive. They'd probably phrase it in a different context, but had a fantastic time at Linfield. I was there for about 15 years, and we were pretty successful. But it was good when I left Linfield to come back to Glentoran, where I started my football career. And I'm an East Belfast boy. The club is based in East Belfast, so it was always close to me.
Roy Coyle joining us here, probably the most accomplished manager in the history of the Irish Football League. Kind enough to take a couple minutes here and join us up in the broadcasting booth. Roy, I think my wife calls me a lot of those same names that you were probably called when you went over there. But Roy, you as a player, you talked about that. So for a couple minutes, 5 all-time appearances for the Northern Ireland national team, and you talked about it, being born and raised in East Belfast, having the opportunity to play for Glentoran FC. What is that like? And I always like to talk to guys about this. What is that like when you're standing out there on the pitch and they're playing your national anthem and you're representing your country?
It's probably the strangest feeling you'll ever have, because the greatest honour that could ever be bestowed upon you is playing for your country. It's one thing about playing for your club, but playing for your country, when you go out there and you're standing in front of X number of thousands of people, and then the national anthem comes up, it's an emotional time as well. But it's a tremendous feeling, and to represent your country, you can't have a greater accolade than that.
You played for them and had a chance to represent them, but then Northern Ireland, of course, a victim of some very difficult qualification processes in UEFA. But since the expansion of the UEFA Euro tournament, they were able to play this past summer in the European Championships. What was it like to see them back on the international stage?
It was fantastic because we'd never qualified for the European Championships. We've certainly qualified for World Cups, but there was a manager called Billy Bingham back in Northern Ireland who was revered in many aspects, and he took us to 2 consecutive World Cups, and he did particularly well. And we also played in the 58 World Cups also. But for the first time, a former player, Michael O'Neill, who was a very, very excellent player. Can't remember how many times he's played for his country, but he has worked wonders, so he has since he's taken over. And we've got the greatest respect now. Teams have come to what they call now the National Stadium at Windsor Park. They know that whatever they put into the game is going to be a difficult game for them. There's a fear factor. Teams coming. It doesn't matter who it is. There's a fear factor, and they know that they're going to have to perform extremely well to get a result.
But how do the Northern Guard compare to the Green and White Army?
The Green and White Army, yeah. Well, we always say it's the 12th man. They do a tremendous job in trying to get the team to perform well and hopefully get to the competitions. And certainly the players in particular have a great an affinity with the Green and White Army. And it's like when I'm witnessing here tonight, I'm sure that those guys across the way there, they're helping their team, and hopefully they can help them during the season. I think you played, is it 3 games you played so far, something like that? Your season's only starting. Our season's just ended, actually. Right. Your guys, looking at them, are well organised. Both teams have plenty of possession, but really haven't tested the goalkeeper eyes yet. Both goalkeepers.
The next 15 minutes of action presented by Fago, the official pop of Detroit City FC. As we take a look at the action moving on, and of course in the booth we're joined by Roy Coyle, legendary Northern Ireland footballer, legendary manager as well. And Roy, I always like to ask people this, especially people over on the European side of the pond. How do you view soccer in America? And look, I talked about this in the open. Glentoran FC and that whole Detroit Cougars experiment, that really opened America's eyes to soccer. If you look at it from that time to today, how do you view American soccer?
Well, it's certainly progressing. There's no question about that. In their infancy, I'm sure there was a lot of problems, but the influx of maybe European players coming over to to America to try and help the game, to progress the game. You know, we had I'm not sure why you know, we had a fantastic player, a world-class player, a man called George Best, who came over to America along with Pele and many, many others. But those two in particular were world-class players. And they knew that they were coming here to promote the game. And I think they've done fantastically well. The thing that I'm very impressed with tonight, there's a lot of families here. There's a lot of young ones. And more importantly, there's a lot of girls and women back home. Our game, we call it football, you call it soccer because of the football, American football. But we don't have as many women, many females that go to our game. It's basically a man's game back home. And to see this here tonight is it's heartwarming, so it is. It's fantastic. And hopefully, you know, we can see more of this back home. It's a challenge because it's never happened. It's a working class game, football back home. And it's basically made up of men, hard-working men.
You know, Roy, it's interesting too, and I've talked about this in a lot of the work I've done in the media. When I talk about the game of soccer here in America, I think it is the game of the future here in America and really worldwide, because if you look across the landscape, how pressed we've become for time between jobs and family and everything like that. Soccer, 90 minutes. The clock is rolling consistently. You know, when you sit down in those seats, in 2 hours the game's going to be over. In games like baseball,
an hour and a half.
Yeah, well, yeah, plus your halftime break. Yeah. But I mean, you look at the games like baseball here in America or football. I mean, you're talking 3.5, sometimes 4 hours. It's just unrealistic in today's day and age to expect somebody to take that amount of time for a sporting event. Soccer, you know what you're going to get when you walk in the door. Yeah,
that's correct. I think also too, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, it's maybe not as physical as American football, you know, because there's a lot of clashing going on. I know that sometimes with studs and players' boots, it can become pitches can make life difficult, conditions can make life difficult. But the fact that I think maybe there's more kids coming through now, but I think that's basically the people from the early stages of trying to get the game to succeed. But I'm looking at the crowd, and you know, I didn't expect it to be as many people here, funny enough. And that there is credit to the people, of the owners of this club, but more importantly the public. Because without the public, you don't have the players. Players will not, they won't perform.
Right, there's no question about it. But you know, Roy, you'd be interested to know. I mean, as far as ratings go, Champions League games do very well here in America. I mean, it is the game of the future in America, and there's a lot of older time media around that maybe look to discredit the game of soccer, but it's here to stay, and it's more importantly, it's here to progress.
Absolutely, I can't disagree with that one iota. And more importantly too, back in England in particular, the money aspect of the game has gone absolutely berserk. You know, you're talking about guys earning like £350,000 a week. No, not a year.
You mean that's not what they were paying you, Roy? That's not what you were getting?
I can assure you it wasn't. No, under no circumstances. You're talking way back in the 70s whenever I was there. That money, it's television. It's television that's brought the money into the game. And I understand it's a short career being a footballer, and you've got to get as much money as possible.
Well, we've been talking to Roy. It's action continues on the pitch, and we saw a nice defensive play there by Zach Falk, but I wanted to draw your attention, Roy, to another player on the pitch right now, John McGuigan, who you've brought back. The Glens have brought back this summer. Just re-signed him and brought him up from the Northern Irish Championship. He started with you, had made 60 appearances, and we see him in midfield. He looks like someone with something to prove, really controlling the ball in midfield, and you were able to bring in some nice new signings before this tour and really take Glentoran and get you ready for 2017, 2018.
That's correct, yeah. John was with us a lot of years ago, and unfortunately for John, he couldn't really command a regular place, and we decided to let him go out to another club to get more experience, which he has done. He won, there's a division below the Premier League, what we play what we call the Premier League, and then there's a championship just below that. And this season, he won the Player of the Year in the championship, but we had already signed him in a pre-contract. And certainly he's a very attacking-minded player. If you keep watching the game, you'll find he'll get into the opposition's box quite often because he scores a lot of goals from a deep-lying midfield position. And he's a young player still as well. He's got age on his side. He's not going to be out of the game for long times, and he's got a fantastic engine. The lad will run all day. You'll watch him, and he'll be up and down. It's a hard job playing in midfield, and the demands that the manager puts on him. But John welcomes that.
Aaron Franco will swing that ball over to the left side, where it's intercepted, and that ball crosses the line. And right now, we have the opportunity to talk to you about our Grand Circus player profile. Today is Kervin Kenton, the defender from Coastal Carolina. Played in Germany's second division at one time. Also played for Costa Rica in the U20 national team. You can read the full Grand Circus player profile at DebtCityFC.com. Neil Rule, John Krieger with you. We're joined for just a couple more minutes here in the booth by Roy Coyle, one of the most successful managers in the history of the Northern Irish Premiership as it's known now. But he has done it at every single level. Also a national team player for Northern Ireland as well. But Roy, it's been an honor really to talk with you up here in the booth. Certainly very aware of your place in the soccer world, especially in Northern Ireland. So we just want to say thank you for coming up here and joining us. It's been a real honor for us.
It's a pleasure, and I have to say many thanks to the people that's looked after us since we've come to America. They've been nothing but outstanding for us, and we really appreciate the players in particular. It's a tremendous achievement for them to make this. A lot of those guys out there playing tonight have never been to America, and what a wonderful experience is there. But credit to the owners of Detroit City. They've been fantastic to us, and we can't praise them enough.
Absolutely. Well, we're glad to have you here, Roy, you and all the fellas as well. Thank you very much for the time. We appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much. Thank you, gentlemen.
That was Roy Coyle joining us here, the most accomplished manager in the history of Irish soccer. Kind enough to take a few minutes with us here in the booth as the action continues out on the field. 0-0 the score as we go into the 26th minute of play. Elliot Morris, the goalkeeper for Glentoran FC. Over 640 matches played for Glentoran, also the team captain as well. As they will try the right side, Sean Lawson with the hassle will force the pass back to the keeper. So Morris puts the right boot into it, sends it across midfield, and away we continue to go.
Well, while we've been talking to Roy, a couple of things that have been happening on the pitch. First of all, City's moved their back line up a little bit. They realize that they have an advantage as they're familiar with playing at Keyworth, and there have been a lot of bounces that I think you can attribute to the plastic pitch that the Glens are still getting used to. And so Ben Pierman has taken the advantage of moving the back line up just a little bit. Now, the other side to that is that the two systems we're seeing tonight. City in a 4-3-3, 4 back line, 3 midfielders, 3 attackers against Gary Haveren's 4-2-3-1. Right now, the space in midfield belongs to the Glens. John McGuigan's been able to get in there. That's why I brought him up with Roy. He's been really a solid force in the number 10 position. He's been able to create space for himself, get the ball, and then send it off to either the wings or to try to squirt it through to get it into the area. He's going to be, I think, a good addition for the Glens going forward. I've been really impressed with the championship player of the year in Northern Ireland, moving up a division now, playing with the Glens. The one thing that's a positive for the City faithful, even though we're in the 28th minute, we don't have a goal on the board. What I do see is City continuing to make runs. The left back and right back for City have moved a little forward. They are a little bit less afraid to bomb forward and trust themselves to get back if they need to. That's something that City will need to use in Pierman's system going forward in the NPSL.
There's an attempted chip as a cross, and now a left-footed shot will run wide off the foot of Eric Foley. Foley, 2 goals this year for Glentoran FC. He's got caps under his belt for the U16 and U17 Republic of Ireland national teams. As you get a look at the Northern Guard, busting out the rouge-colored smoke. And that man will check into the game for Detroit City FC, Tommy Catalano. The former Oakland Golden Grizzly won the Black Arrow MVP last season, had 4 goals in 8 games.
Want to send a hello to Keith Anderson. Why? Because he thinks we're superb. And so he's watching tonight, and we try to do our homework on the Glens, Keith, because we're so honored to have our guests here today all the way from East Belfast. So thanks for watching and tweeting in with the hashtag WatchCity.
Zach Bach will drop it off. Edwardson steps into it. was trying to find Derek Odom. There's a slide tackle made by Bach, and the ball will come free towards midfield. Strong overplay by Spencer Glass. And John, Spencer Glass is a guy I've been looking forward to seeing here for Le Rouge. Very accomplished, a 4-star recruit, a top 150 player in America out of Indiana University. As Sean Lawson turns and crosses, that ball flicked out by the back line of Glentoran FC. But Spencer Glass is a guy, John, I've been very excited to see. So far, so good.
Yeah, the last time we saw him in a bit of a cynical challenge there, we're going to see a well-deserved booking as the man in the middle for Glentoran, who's had so much space. John McGuigan goes down Detroit style in what was rather, you don't often see bookings in a friendly. That one was well-deserved as some medical attention for McGuigan. Here he comes, goes up for a ball, and basically a two-handed shove there by Owen Hoskins, who decided that he wasn't going to let the Glentoran number 10 get the space and control the ball off the head or off the chest and move forward. And so now John McGuigan being attended to by the Glentoran physios. So a bit of a welcome there from Owen Hoskins, the Manchester lad. Check it, he's not Manchester lad, but he is a three-time Division II All-America at St. Edward's, and he's our Spanish bullfighter. He was out there in midfield with a bit of a rough challenge.
This injury break brought to you by the Henry Ford Health Systems, the official sports medicine provider of Detroit City FC. John McGuigan spent 5 years with the Glens. He won the Irish Cup back in 2013. And you brought up the fact he re-signed 2 weeks ago, at the same time as Corey McMullen signed, as we'll take another look at this challenge. And you see McGuigan definitely on the wrong end of that one, so here comes the restart for Glentoran FC, and that's probably a better look at it.
Up there and high with the arms. You didn't have to bring the arms up to play the ball or the man like that, and so our first referee tonight making the decision to issue the booking, and quite rightly. You don't need to go up and raise the arms to make that play on McGuigan.
We have a tweet here from Andy in SDCA. Says, hello from San Diego. We appreciate you checking in and following the match. Here's a look at Paul O'Neill with his first team debut last season. The youngster O'Neill got the spot start as Curtis Allen, I think, rolled an ankle in warm-ups. And the next 15 minutes of action brought to you by Phoenix House, the official building partner of Detroit City FC.
Curtis Allen stepping on the training cone. Never something you like to see, but he goes down. And it's just the second appearance all-time for the Glens for Paul O'Neill as he tries to get some joy up front for the white-wearing team from East Belfast.
The Glentoran fans excited. Jason Cummings tweets at us, says O'Neill's been up front for Glentoran. He's been playing U20 and U17 all season. Hashtag the future's bright.
And you know what? It's worth noting, if you take a look at the Glens, Jason is right. The U20, the U17 teams, they've had some success. Also, Glentoran ladies, they've got a fine ladies football program at the Glens, and they believe in building up and bringing along young lads. And so they are one of the iconic football clubs in Northern Ireland, and they believe in doing it the right way by supporting youth football and bringing them along. And so while the senior Glens have come over here, the young Glens making their way and progressing in competitions and followed very well.
Glentoran FC has had the better of the possession, especially over the course of the last 10 minutes. They begin to tilt the field a little bit here in the face of Detroit City FC. That touch, you'll see the goalkeeper Colin Miller come off his line. Miller from Providence College, and all Big East first team performer last year, where he had 8 shutouts, was the Big East goalkeeper of the week during his time last season. Very promising young goalkeeper. 50-50 ball popped up in the air by Daniel Kelly.
Oh, look at Cyrus Sadie. Look at Cyrus going in there against someone who's got about 5 inches on him. He's going up against Trey Sterling, and the Cyrus Sadie, unafraid, didn't win the ball that time, but that's the improvement of Cyrus. He comes in, he makes the physical play, and he makes it without being too reckless. It took a while, a foul was given, but Cyrus Sadie's unafraid to go into any of those 50-50 challenges and win the ball for City in midfield. And you could see what he was already planning to do. If he had won the ball, he was going to turn it back. There were two midfielders coming forward, and you would have had a little 1-2 to move it forward and try to get service to the front three.
Cyrus Sadie with a goal and an assist this year, and that goal, I'm telling you, if it wasn't world class, it was near world class. It was an absolute goal scorer's goal, and we saw him score against Milwaukee. And John, we were talking about Trey Sterling for a couple seconds ago. An interesting fact about him, he joined the Glentoran Academy at age 11 and plays for the Northern Ireland U19 international squad. And John, you and I haven't had the opportunity really to talk about this, and I brought it up with Northern Ireland football legend Roy Coyle that was in the booth with us, and I wanted to get his take on the American game, and something you and I haven't really had the chance to kick it about. I talked to you about Trey Sterling, and he joined the academy at age 11, and I heard an interview on satellite radio, and I believe it was the assistant coach from North Carolina State, the college, and his name escapes me right now, so I apologize for that, but he had maybe the greatest take in the history of American soccer about really, as we see a developing opportunity, that right foot shot will miss the left post by McWegan.
And we'll get back to your point in just a second there, but that was a nice defensive run by Bach to close it down, but it's because he made the mistake to go in there with a slide tackle that took an awful long time to get there. And so if Bach's going to go to ground, he's got to make sure he gets the ball, but instead he didn't get the ball. It was able to be played forward. He over pursued, and that allowed the shot on goal you just saw. So Zach Bach, a quality defender, but a couple times in this match we've seen him try to do a little too much going to ground and giving up that defensive position. Trust in yourself, son. You have the wheels. Make the play. Stay on your feet. Close the attacker down. Close the midfielder down. And be able to maintain and turn possession the other way.
Jean-Claude Lawson was in, and the target of that long pass, he's just out of his reach. But yeah, John, we were talking, and he made the point. He said the problem with youth soccer in America right now is it's all trophy chasing. It's you play games, and if you win the game, then the players are developing, and if you don't, they're not developing. To where you look at soccer overseas and their youth academies, there are specific training programs in place. There's specific development programs in place. They're not just playing a bunch of games. They're actually training and using a program. Here comes Jean-Claude Lawson with a bit of magic. And now a player down, and we will get a whistle and a foul called, and that is Sean Lawson down on the turf. But we see the impact that Sean Lawson can have. His father, Samuel, played for the Jamaican national team. He played for the Jamaican U17 national team as well.
You know, when he comes in and creates space, a little stutter step at the top of the D and force the foul in on him. Sometimes he was never going to be the person that was going to make the play. He was always going to leave it off. He had a player coming in behind him. Derek Odom was there. He was going to leave it off to him. But when you're in space at the top of the D, you make the defenders close you down. And sometimes, even after you've played past the ball, they're going to come in. They can't stop their challenge. And you give yourself a free kick opportunity. And you take a look at City with a pretty good free kick position here, 30 yards from goal. And they try the little short free kick to try to get a player on the end of the run. And it goes just a little too far on the plastic pitch. But a nice job by Lawson to create the free kick situation.
We have a tweet sent in from Gavin Anderson. Said, I grew up with my grandfather and dad talking about the Detroit Cougars. It's great that the team is being recognized. Hashtag Watch City. And you can send your tweets all night long with the hashtag Watch City. We'll get to as many of them as we can.
Well done there by Dwayne Nelson for the Glens. Had a player closing down on him. Was able to just head it back to the keeper. Sometimes when you're playing in that back line, as Nelson is, and you're sitting there, check it, number 2 for Glentoran.
Daniel Kelly.
That's Daniel Kelly, thank you, at center back. Had a couple of number changes here on my squad list. But as you're taking a look at Daniel Kelly, he's sitting there, he's got a player closing him down, and he has the presence of mind just to head it back to the keeper. Those little things from a center back, just keep the composure for your side. And he looks pretty solid in central defense.
Oh no, Delaney will play that one towards the middle. Jallo unable to come through with much of anything.
You know, you asked me about European academies. The big difference here is that in the United States, we are a population that is about wins and losses. You talked about glory hunting, you talked about trophy hunting, but at the end of it, it's because every level of our game has a manager. As we take a look at the foul that comes in here, and a nice job by Lawson. Look at him, picks up, gets the ball in space, and gets clattered down, and City get the free kick. So we're taking a look at the academy systems in Europe versus the United States. Here, we progress from high school to college to the professional ranks. At every level of that, there's a high school coach who wants to keep his job, a college coach who wants to keep his job, and a professional coach who wants to keep his job. You take a look at, if we make the parallel to the Premier League, you used to see managers get 2, 3, 4 years to bed in. Now, if you're not winning after 6 months in the Championship or one of the lower Premier League clubs, they may send you, you give you your walking papers and send you on the way because things are so important. The European academy system is less about wins and losses and more about a philosophy. The Barcelona Academy wants to raise players playing the Barcelona way. The Tottenham Academy wants to raise players playing the Tottenham way. And so whether you win or lose in the academy situation, as we watch McGuigan with a nice ball outside, and then he continues his run, and was almost there on the other end of it if City hadn't stepped in and cleared it away. The wins and losses, the only thing that matters is the wins and losses for the senior team.
Right.
They're the ones out there. They're the ones whose job depends on things. And oftentimes, the academies are as much for developing your player for your own side as it is for selling players on and generating top academy products that might be bought by other senior clubs. And so it really is about the development of the player. The minute you bring in the uncertainty of somebody losing their job, it becomes less about development and more about how do I keep my position. And that's why there have been a lot of people. Owen Coyle, who's a longtime manager in the United Kingdom, when he came over to coach Houston of MLS, he said one of the things that's difficult is the university system here in the United States because it doesn't allow for that long-term development. He said that one of the things he'd like to see is more academy products. But that's a sticky situation with as ingrained as we are with university sport here in the United States.
There's a turnover by Detroit City FC, and here comes Delaney with it. Delaney plays it to the left side of the box. That left-footed shot at the foot of O'Neal is blocked. And throw-in coming up for Glentoran as Ross Redmond will trot down. Redmond signed last year with Glentoran FC after playing 12 years for his hometown club in Portadown. And that ball settled down, and Glentoran will try the right side.
Jallo with a nice ball there. Nice job by City to close 2 men down on the recipient of that ball, and they turn the other way. Nice counter here. Don't let the ball get too far ahead of you. A little shirt tug there, and we play on.
James Ferrin will send it up the right side. Here comes Glentoran now on the move again. Jallo able to do what he wanted in that right corner. He will earn a corner for Glentoran FC. So we take another look. Paul O'Neal works his way through. That ball knocked down by Owen Hoskins. And that's always a dangerous proposition when you have that elbow tucked behind the back.
Unnatural position. Was close enough to the body that I think our referee tonight didn't want to whistle for a penalty. Unfortunately, fortunately or unfortunately, as the corner comes in.
Served in. Now making the grab will be Colin Miller. Detroit City FC will be able to clear.
I like that set-piece defense from City. Some teams will put those players on the back post, and it allows the team setting up the corner to crowd your 6-yard box, make things difficult for your keeper. City kept the high line. The back line was together. They were able to keep Glentoran out of the 6-yard box, and it allowed for City the chance for Colin Miller to come out, claim his area, no real trouble at all, and a nice sure keeper to send things the other way.
Now DCFC will serve one up the left side, looking for Sean Lawson, just out of the reach of Sean. The ball will trickle over the sideline. Another throw-in coming up for Glentoran FC. 43 minutes in the books here in the first half at Keyworth Stadium. Neil Rule, John Krieger with you. Happy to have you along wherever you may be watching. Extra special hello to those of you watching on FoxSportsDetroit.com, and an extra special hello to everybody staying up as we push across the 1 o'clock hour in Northern Ireland. All the Glentoran FC fans, appreciate the kind words on Twitter. More than you guys know.
We're just here for you, and both Neil and I are privileged to be able to tell these teams stories, and especially our guests from Northern Ireland that have embraced the legacy of playing in the Motor City. Actually, the team in 1967 presented the city of Detroit with a grandfather clock as a thank you for letting them represent the city of Detroit. That grandfather clock, according to a couple of pieces that I was able to read in the Belfast Telegraph, is still in City Hall in Detroit.
And the tweet from Jai Gorman that says, "I'm a season ticket holder for the Glens. Come on, ye Glens." I know a lot of the City fans would disagree with that, with that right now.
You know what, though? We're just glad you're watching.
Yeah, absolutely. Derek Odom able to control that ball along the sideline. Sean Lawson with his back to the defender. Finds the toe poke through. The ball will go over top of the head of Aaron Franco. Almost a dangerous counter for Glentoran, and now here we go. They will swing it up the left side. On the move, Colonel Delaney. In the left corner, he can't control it. And John, as you said, you and I talked about this when we got to the pitch here today with Glentoran FC. This is a very fast turf that they're playing on here today, something that's a little bit out of their element.
Yeah, you don't see that. And the ball bounces differently. Look, I know there are plans in the future for Keyworth to see this pitch replaced. We've seen 4G pitches used at the Women's World Cup level, so you can play the game on the turf. But really, this is a very hard surface. And when you're used to running and making runs on grass all season and getting that bit of checkup that you get on the natural surface and you don't get it here, it can be difficult, A, for the midfielder or defender that's planning that long ball or that service in to put it in the right spot, and B, it's kind of difficult to turn on the afterburners when you're expecting a ball to end up in one place and all of a sudden it's skipped forward, and so you see more goal kicks because of that. The Glens are slowly starting to adjust to that. They've had a little more joy in midfield, but it's always a bit of a change when you're used to playing on a natural surface for an entire Northern Irish Dons Bank Premiership season, and you come over here to the pitch at Keyworth.
We're in stoppage time here in the first half. Glentoran FC trying to build as that foul will be called. The guilty party there, Colonel Delaney. And that is the whistle. We have reached halftime here at Keyworth Stadium. A game that has been balanced at times. Also at times we've seen Glentoran FC able to build some possession in the Detroit City FC zone. But the moral of the story, John, as we played 45 minutes, the score, which is what we all keep track of, is 0-0.
Well, yeah, you keep track of it. It's 0-0, but it's a friendly. The positives for me, I've seen a little more freedom from City. You take a look at how they played in Berkeley against Michigan Stars when they surrendered a late lead, and how they played against AFC Ann Arbor. There was a little bit of tightness about that squad. The legs looked a little heavy. The forward play wasn't there. The finishing wasn't there. They had chances but couldn't convert inside the 18-yard box. They've been a little freer tonight, and they've been able to hold their own against a team that is a more physical side in Glentoran. I like the fact that Ben Pierman sent his fullbacks forward. I like that we're seeing Zach Bach, slide tackles notwithstanding, take a little more forward role and try to help out the midfield and kind of make it a hybrid 4-3-3 with that fourth defender, that fullback coming forward. There are a lot of positives here through 45 minutes on what is already a special night, but you need to be able to take this and get past City's big Achilles heel, which is maintaining some of the good things that we see in the first half after halftime.
And there is the head coach, Ben Pierman, as he gives the instruction with 45 minutes in the books. 0-0 the score, as they will have a special ceremony here at halftime as they will honor Glentoran FC and present them with some gifts for coming over, and we will carry that for you live right here on the Watch City broadcast. Neil Roll, John Krieger with you. 0-0 the score at the half between Glentoran FC out of the Northern Irish Premiership. 12 all-time appearances in the UEFA Champions League, 18 all-time appearances in the Europa League. Certainly a very storied club, certainly a club that has achieved at a high level, that has played for the game's ultimate prize.
Well, let's take a look at Glentoran here, Neil. 23 league championships, 22 Irish Cups, 7 Irish League Cups, 26 County Antrim Shields. There's a lot of silverware in the trophy case at the Oval. They know how to win, and they've been there top to bottom, but they were also proud and pleased to come over and beat Cougars. A couple of players, by the way, from that era on the trip this week, and that, of course, a couple of Glentoran legends that are with us. Billy Sinclair is here, and also Tommy Jackson, number 15 and number 10 for the Cougars. Fun story, by the way, by Jim Gracie from the Belfast Telegraph, who's traveling with the side and has covered this brilliantly from the Glentoran perspective. Mr. Sinclair got in a bit of trouble. There we go. Got in a bit of trouble, and Jim, there we go. He's standing next to us in the press box. I promise, didn't know it was you, sir. Excellent coverage here of this trip. He talked about the fact that Billy Sinclair had a bit of a hold your breath moment at Customs and Border Control when they came over to Detroit, because when he was here in 1967, they wanted to get around the age to which you could enter a pub, so to speak, and so snuck over to Windsor to try to have a soda pop or two.
Have a go at it.
The problem is they didn't have documentation to get back into the country, and so trying to get back into the country, Billy Sinclair said, I'm from Belfast, and got detained as an illegal alien. He got back into the country, and he got here as well. Great reading from Jim Gracie.
Absolutely. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do to have a go of it. There's no question about it. What we'll do right now is we will send it down to the field for the ceremony between Glentoran and DCFC. We'll send it down to the field right now.
Welcome to the second annual International Series presented by Strategic Staffing Solutions. Today we welcome the players, staff, directors, and supporters of Glentoran FC as we celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Detroit Cougars. To get started, I want to introduce Rob Baloney, Detroit Operations Manager for Strategic Staffing Solutions, and the reason we're all able to be here.
We want to thank you all for coming out tonight. Strategic Staffing Solutions is extremely proud to help sponsor this international meet between Glentoran FC and our very own Detroit City Football Club. DCFC aligns very well to Detroit's core values of supporting the communities we live and work in here in Detroit and internationally, and we're very proud to be here in support today. Thank you guys so much. Cheers. Hope you enjoy the game.
Thank you. So, nearly 50 years ago, to the day, the Cougars started their season in Detroit. They lived in the Howard Johnson on Grand Boulevard, just across from Motown Studios. They played their matches at the University of Detroit Football Stadium. As part of the Glentoran contingent, we are honored to host two of the original Cougars, Billy Sinclair and Tommy Jackson. That summer, they and their teammates represented their city and our city well. While they were a semi-pro side, they held their own against some of the finest pro teams in the world. But Tommy, Billy, and their teammates did not just play well while they were here. They made friends. They connected with our community to talk and teach and share their passion for their sport, even if they did have to call it soccer. They were the embodiment of Glen Men, a tradition that lives on today with the team that we're playing tonight. More than anything, it's the connection to the community that we celebrate tonight with this match. Were it not for the Cougars and the other pioneers of soccer in Michigan, there would not be a DCFC. For planting the seeds, we will be forever grateful, and we aim to continue our connection to Belfast for years to come. So again, once again, please join us to thank Tommy and Billy for their contribution to our soccer community. And finally, it's in the spirit of friendship that we would like to present as a token of appreciation from Detroit City FC to Glentoran FC to their chairman, Stephen Henderson. We've got the award right here. It reads, the 50th anniversary of the Detroit Cougars, Glentoran FC versus Detroit City FC, two of the world's great cities, bound by the beautiful game and a remarkable team. Glentoran Chairman Stephen Henderson.
John, Alex, on behalf of Glentoran Football Club, I'd like to thank you for the hospitality and welcome that you, the city of Detroit, and the people of this great city have shown to us. We have travelled the length and breadth of Europe in European competition over many years, and I can honestly say that we have never been treated better anywhere. So I'd like, on behalf of Glentoran Football Club and the City of Belfast, to make a small presentation to DCFC to mark the occasion of this prestigious friendly. Thank you.
To Stephen and all the directors of Glentoran FC, we are very humbled by the fact that you guys accepted our offer to come here and celebrate the rich, rich legacy of the Detroit Cougars. I just have to say it is very humbling. We visited Belfast last year, and to know that there's people on the other side of the earth that hold Detroit in such reverence, and you know, are boosters of our fair city when so many other people look down on it. It means a lot to us, and as it means a lot that the beautiful game brings our two cities together, and again that we have this remarkable heritage bound together by Tommy and Billy and the Detroit Cougars and Glentoran of 1967. So thank you for being here, and I'd just like to say, nobody wearing green, red, and black should buy a beer tonight. We appreciate you guys making the trip.
Thanks, everyone. That concludes our ceremony, and we will end it as we always do with the Gene Shore Cannon. Take it away, guys.
Lovely ceremony at halftime here at Keyworth Stadium. Alex Wright, one of the co-owners here of Detroit City FC, honoring the Detroit Cougars of 1967. We're through 45 minutes of friendship. We are goalless at the break. When Neil and I return, it'll be second half action between Glentoran FC, the pride of East Belfast, and your Detroit City FC, LaRouge and the Glens, coming back to Keyworth after this.
During the week, I sit at a desk. On the weekends, I'm a DIY warrior, thanks to my 2016 Chevy Silverado. With its high-strength steel frame, my Silverado can take on any project. Add in its towing power and ability to keep me connected, my Silverado is the perfect tool for all my jobs.
Lease a 2017 Silverado 1LT 4-wheel drive All-Star Edition for just $219 a month for 36 months. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City.
My passion is architecture. I don't want to sit around passively studying. I need to create. In our architecture studios at Lawrence Tech, we collaborate with students, faculty, and professionals from around the world. And from day one, we design using the same industry standard software that architecture firms use. I really feel like I'm designing my own future here. Lawrence Tech. Possible is everything.
We're a 4-year-old company, but we've just moved to the city about a year ago, and we renovated an old stamping plant here in Detroit. And we're focused, and our mission is to create and design super efficient homes and urban infill buildings using the methodology of Passive House, and package that into a pre-built shell that's made here in Detroit. And we're allowing to do different creative designs, again, for single-family urban infills made in the shop in Detroit here. Everything we take is from design to rough frame to putting the layers on in the shop. So we actually create the wall panels here in Detroit in our shop. We load them up on that fancy trailer, and then we ship them out to the site like we did today. We discovered DCFC was about early or late last year, and we didn't have our building squared away yet last year. So really wanted to come on strong with you guys this year, and just really be a supporter of the team. With your new move, that's fantastic, and be able to help any way we can, which we thought was kind of a creative use, is just to have a way to have some outside. So we're excited to be here with your new stadium this year. So today we're putting together the prefab shell. It's consisting of wall panels, roof panels that we made prefab in the shop, and so everything's pre-insulated. It comes with some siding and a weather-tight layer. So that's what we're working on today to get that wrapped up and weather-tight today. Some of the science we've baked into these panels, into the roof design and details, is extra thickness for extra insulation, which allows us to have a higher R value and something that we call thermal bridge-free detailing. So everything is going to be what we call super insulated and airtight, and we're able to do that on these walls and roof panels that we've pre-built in the shop. It's going to be good. It's been a couple weeks here preparing. We're really excited. All the guys are actually pretty excited. I saw them taking snapshots with their phones and stuff, but it'll feel good to see when it's all wrapped up, it's weather tight, people can go buy, their merchandise.
You guys are ready! Oh, you guys are ready!
Ticket, please.
Of course, I got it right here.
There's nothing there.
It's loading. It takes a little bit. Just give me like a minute, guys.
Here's my ticket. It's starting. Mine works.
Bob realized his network coverage was a no-show. That's why he switched to Metro PCS, because he figured out he gets a network that's more reliable than ever, covering 99% of people in the U.S. Switch now and get 2 lines for only $50 period, plus 2 free Samsung Galaxy phones. Metro PCS, wireless.
I love helping people get what they need. So when you order with ClickList from Kroger, I make sure you get everything you ask for, just the way you like it.
Whole organic milk? Done.
2 ripe bananas and 1 green.
And today's fresh bread? Got it.
With ClickList, I'm your personal shopper, so you can trust me to pick out exactly what you want, bagged and ready for when you arrive.
Try ClickList at a Kroger near you. Order online, pick up curbside at store, with same-day pickup now available. Visit Kroger.com/ClickList.
When I was a kid, I wanted to touch the skies.
I wanted to invent things.
I wanted to protect others.
I wanted to challenge myself. I wanted to make a difference.
I knew that one day I would be the difference. I am a special missions aviator.
Clinical nurse.
Pararescueman.
I'm Captain Chris Niels, and we are American Airmen.
See more at airforce.com.
Welcome back inside historic Keyworth Stadium here in Hamtramck. 0-0 the score. With the first half in the books, we're just about ready to rock for the second 45 minutes of action here in this friendly Detroit City FC and Glentoran FC of the Northern Irish Premiership. Neil Rule, John Krieger, back at you as we take a look at the stats from the first 45 minutes of play. And the halftime report brought to you by Metro PCS. 4 shots to 3 in favor of Glentoran. 3 corners, though, for Detroit City. But, John, it was the first 45 minutes of play that really saw some ebb and flow to it. Detroit City had their moments, Glentoran had their moments, and the ball really weaved its way back and forth.
After about the first 10 minutes, the team started to open each other up a little bit. They'd never seen each other before. No real way to scout each other, and you're playing on a plastic pitch for the first time if you're Glentoran. And so you got to kind of have that give and take and go. And then you started to see both sides realize they could get some joy on the wings, and they got it, and it stretched the game.
Absolutely it did, as we would take a look at the highlights from the first 45 minutes of play. Of course, Cyrus Sadie sticking his nose in there for Detroit City FC, as he always does. Derek Odom certainly had a couple moments, as did that guy, Sean Lawson. We saw his attackability, I guess you would say, or his really what he's able to do come in and really turn a game on its ear.
Lawson able to get some joy in the wing, and look at him there. Controls the ball, going right back in at it, and challenging. You got to keep asking questions of the center back. You have to keep making defenders make plays, and Lawson isn't afraid to try to create space and do something with the football.
We saw some chances for Glentoran FC as well. John McGuigan, certainly with a prime opportunity there, longtime member of the Glens. And the youngster Paul O'Neill, who got the spot start in the place of Curtis Allen, the noted striker for Glentoran, hurt himself in the pregame warm-up, so Paul O'Neill came out and had some chances. So the fans grabbing some grub and grabbing some drinks and making their way back to their seats here at historic Keyworth Stadium. Jonathan Smith into the game for Glentoran FC, as they will have possession to get things started. Just moments away.
First, you have two players up there in the center circle. Don't need to have them. The second touch was changed as the rule, but it's so habit-forming, and we're hearing a friendly, and so John McGuigan up there with him as well, and Glentoran gets us underway.
The next 15 minutes of action brought to you by Metro PCS, the official wireless provider of Detroit City FC. So away we go. Zach Bach will drop it back to the goalkeeper, Colin Miller. The Northern Guard begins with the rouge-colored smoke from the supporters section.
They did have orange smoke, though, to be fair. A little nod to the Cougars at kickoff. Now they're back to supporting City with the rouge and gold.
Colin Miller wearing the red get-up today. Goal for Detroit City FC. Not much cracking possession-wise here for the Rouge, and Miller, maybe in a test of patience, will swing that ball along the left sideline. This recovery made. Roddy Green into the game to start the second 45. And John, Roddy Green is a guy that we saw, especially against Milwaukee, certainly come in and take over a game with some very strong possession.
Yeah, I'd like very much to see what he can do here in the second half. Nice for Ben Pierman to be able to bring him off the bench. By the way, you just saw Spencer Glass step in and end a bit of an aerial to and fro that we had here in the early second minute of the second half. We talked about Spencer Glass before halftime. He's someone that, with his experience and his play in the Big Ten, is someone that can really give City a bit of a veteran presence. And the defender stepped in and allowed City to go forward. And now looks like we've got a City corner here in the 47th minute.
Here comes a situation now for Detroit City as Spencer Glass will come over.
Is he going to take this corner? There we go. Nice short ball and a nice job by Glentoran to step in front there and make sure it got nowhere. And now they can turn on the counter if they're quick, and they are. Nice long ball to be able to run into space.
Boy, Miller's out of his element, and that ball touched ahead. It will trickle wide of the right post. John McGuigan almost struck from about 30 yards out as Colin Miller got caught in no man's land, John, but he got away with it.
He got away with it thanks to Omar Sinclair, who ought to get a pat on the behind from his keeper, because Omar Sinclair is the reason we're goalless. if you're going to come, you've got to get it. He's outside his area. McGuigan came down, continued to ask the question, and I'll tell you what, the city keeper, a lucky lad, Colin Miller, if you're going to come out of the area and play sweeper keeper, playing it with your head is risky enough. But you didn't get it, and McGuigan wins the ball. And thanks to Omar Sinclair, he's able to direct it wide of the post, and City pulled their feet out of the fire with that one.
Louis Dargent starting the second half as well with some possession. Coastal Carolina played some club soccer in France. He's from France. He was on the Big South All-Freshman team back in 2014. There's a look at Colin Miller, and of course, as you said, Omar Sinclair. Sinclair, the Manchester, England native. It is college soccer at Saginaw Valley State.
Get a good look here at Carl Hamill. He's a Northern Ireland international center half. He's on a 2-year deal for the Glens. We'll see what he can do after halftime. One of our staff researchers via Twitter, Jason Cummings, coming in with a little bit of extra information on the young defender for the Glens.
Now the throw-in coming up for City. And John, we see these lineup changes paying immediate dividends here for Le Rouge. They spent a good deal of time. I mean, the Colin Miller situation excluded, of course, but they've spent a good deal of time on the side of Glentoran FC as a yellow card is issued.
And we're going to see who gets the booking.
Aaron Franco, I believe.
Yep, just a little too physical there.
Mixing it up with James Farron. Let's take another look at it. And the knee raised a little bit.
That's a booking. All right. Well,
it's probably one of those things that looked worse in real time than it was.
You know what? The man in the yellow in the middle, he's got to make the decision with a snap judgment, and he came in, as you said, with a high knee. That if I were a player, I'd feel a little bit hard done by that booking. But you live and learn and move on, and a nice little back ball there from the Glens. But then they can't control it on the pitch. And City and Omar Sinclair, veteran defender for Le Rouge, he's been around these parts, understands what it is to play on the City back line in Ben Pierman's system. Just closes down very nicely, sends it out to midfield. And City already looking more comfortable against the Glens here as they try to move forward. We haven't seen some of the stagnation we saw for parts of the first half in midfield.
Spencer Glass drops it off for Dargent. Whistle and the foul call. That'll go against Glentoran FC.
Spencer Glass drops it off, and Spencer Glass plays aggressively, and because of that, he's rewarded with the free kick. He had the ball, he had the path to play. Even though he left it off, he was taken out by a trailing leg, and that's an easy decision for a referee to make.
So Dargent checking in about 6'6". He's a big man.
He, of course, was caught in transfer limbo, couldn't play in the opening NPSL weekend.
That was something also that plagued Sean Lawson as well, the international transfer window. He played some soccer up in his homeland of Canada. Caught some issues trying to get back, so his international situation got resolved, so he was able to crack the lineup here for Detroit City.
Oh, feathery little touch there from McGuigan. And then it's turned around to man, and then the Glens are able to turn it forward, and then it bounces away from Daniel Kelly as he tried to turn it forward and send it onto a man that was making a run down the near side wing. But a feathery touch there from McGuigan to turn the counterattack around and send Glentoran forward. A bit of a knock there for City's Cyrus Sadie. By the way, he's the only player in Rouge and Gold, or tonight Black and White, that has played every minute of the City season so far. 270 league minutes.
And ticking.
So he is Iron Man in Rouge and Gold. And
as I like to say, the straw that stirs the drink here for Detroit City FC. There's no doubt about it. Everything goes through him. Everything goes around him. He is Detroit City FC.
Speaking of straws that stir the drink, a little later on, we're going to find out another favorite Fagel flavor for a City player. You know, Neil and I are on Team Rock and Rye. We'll see who tonight's player is and what Fagel flavor tops their list.
That ball chipped out. Tommy Catalano sends it down. Dargent wins it out wide to center with Sadie. Sadie, nifty move. Goes around the defender, chips it up ahead. Lottie Green turns. The cross will win a corner for Detroit City.
Smart there.
Right now it's time for the weekly trivia presented by Faygo. This week's question, the captain, Dave Edwardson, what's his favorite Faygo flavor? We will have that answer coming up for you just a little bit later on.
Dave, if you're smart, it'll be rock and rye.
Absolutely. So the corner coming up for Detroit City. Spencer Glass over. They keep getting some cracks at this. Let's see if they can put one of these opportunities away.
Again, the Glens with players on the post, allowing City to crowd the 6-yard box. Nice job by the center back there to rise and head it out in a crowd and make City reset.
Stephen Gordon able to get that job done. And you see really the size on the back line. And John, you look at these teams in Glentoran FC and the Northern Irish Premiership, that's where you see the difference, especially as that size in the back line between a team like Detroit City FC coming in the MPSL. You see really some professionals that Glentoran FC has, and you see the size that comes along with it.
Yeah, listen, Glentoran are a semi-pro club, but even semi-pro over there is different than here.
Right.
Here you've got guys that are in and out of a squad list because of work commitments. You got a guy like Cyrus Sadie who's driving from Lansing in for training.
Right.
This is true semi-pro, whereas the Glens are, whether they're semi-pro or not, they're playing in the Danske Bank Premiership, and they have the routines with the physios, and you just see it in the way they're able to step in and make physical plays, and that's just the difference in the meaning of semi-pro on both sides of the pond.
Ball played in, nice job done along the sideline. Cyrus Sadie will settle it down. Sadie battles for it and wins it. Jeff Atkins tried to come through with that ball. Now Dargent will step over. Glass will play it control. Swing it back across to the right side.
Aaron Franco doing a nice job of staying with John McGuigan. He's giving him a little more space now as City come forward. But the minute that Glentoran get the ball and move forward in possession, all of a sudden Aaron Franco is meeting up with his friend. Reminds me of the quote from the movie Hoosiers, sticking to him like dentine. By the end of the match, I want to know what flavor he is. And Aaron Franco doing a nice job in midfield of realizing that McGuigan has gotten some space and trying to mark him and stay with him as he goes forward.
Elliot Morris puts the right boot to it. Puts it up near the midfield stripe. Louis Dargent knocks it down. Back heel pass. Glass.
Nice job by Dargent to go through midfield, but then he selects the player that's being marked by two Glens, and it comes back the other way. Dargent with his head up, but then take a peek around and see if there's another run you can put it over the top to, and don't put it into a situation where you can have one man mark the body and the other go in and get the ball and turn it to counterattack the other way.
Into the 57th minute, still no score here at Keyworth Stadium. And now it's time for the answer to our weekly trivia presented by Faygo. This is the Captain Dave Edwardson's favorite Faygo flavor. This will tell me a lot about Dave. Moon Mist is the answer, with Red Pop a close second. And my issue with the captain would be, how is Rockin' Rye not in your top two? Dave and I will talk about that later.
Should be in everybody's top two. Dave apparently needs the caffeine that Moon Mist brings. With the way he runs around on the pitch, I'll let him have it.
Absolutely. I love chatting with Dave Edwardson any chance I get. The captain here for Detroit City FC. Really a good cat. Always likes to have a good time, joke around a little bit. Sadie with the control. Sadie to the middle. Here's Jeff Atkins with space. Atkins matriculates it up the field, and he's taken down. And the foul is called in a very dangerous situation. Actually, a yellow card will be issued.
Yep, absolutely.
I believe, is that going to Corey McMullen?
It is, I believe, and he's going to protest, but that's a professional foul. He came in and stuck the trailing leg out. And,
James Farron, the guilty party.
You're right, James Farron, the center back. He knew what he was doing. He stuck the leg out there because if he's beaten, and if Adkins gets by him, it's 1v1 against the keeper. It's a professional foul, and now you have a free kick.
So Here's another situation for Detroit City. They keep putting themselves in these spots. Eventually, like to think they're going to capitalize on one of these as Jeff Atkins lines it up.
Very high line for the Glens. Wouldn't be surprised to see Atkins try to chip it over, see if he can get Sinclair. Instead, he goes for goal.
With the right foot, grabbed rather easily by Elliott Morris. Morris with the big boot, about 60 yards down the field. And now a good two-man game being played. And here comes a chance. McGuigan into the box.
He's hugging the football.
And that's what the official is telling him. So, John, you grabbed it with your hand in the box there.
Well, he's going to argue he was taken down. He's going to argue this should be a penalty because the keeper didn't get the ball. But you watch, nice little 1-2 there. He's in on space. He's going to be he's arguing that he was held up by both Bach and Glass, and he was. And maybe in a league match, you might see a referee blow the whistle there because he was impeded. In a friendly, that's not going to happen, and they handball the other way.
Tell John McGuigan this is a friendly. Go ahead. I'll wait.
Friendly in inverted commas or quotation marks.
Yeah.
It's friendly.
I got a feeling when John McGuigan steps on the pitch, there's no such thing as friendlies. That guy's about business all the time.
Oh, look at the space here for Adkins. Do something with it. You've got men in onside positions. Nice job to reverse the field. That's the smart play. He had defenders closing him down. He saw Cyrus getting open on the other side of the field. Reverse field. Now City sends it up. Men in the area.
Here comes Sinclair making a move into the box. It's touched away from Omar. Cyrus Sadie will settle it down. Sadie. Touch through the middle. It's taken away.
That's a heavy touch. That's
Smith
legs.
takes it away.
That's a heavy touch. That's legs. We're getting on toward the hour mark. 59 minutes and 48 seconds on the clock. And that's trying to get a little cute as the legs get a little heavier.
Dargent touches it through the middle. Here's Spencer Glass. Trying to go into the box. Catalano with some pressure. And that ball is knocked down by Aaron Franco. Now Atkins with a right foot. That will trickle wide of the left post. Next 15 minutes of action brought to you by Rip It, the official energy drink of Detroit City FC.
Well, while Elliott Morris ponders his goal kick, want to say hi to some people that have tweeted us from across the pond. Jason Cummings is watching. Ewan McKibben, Eddie Patrick, Matthew Grimes, Trevor Cummings watching us tonight. Gary Noble as well. Vienna 1882 asks if any of us like snooker or antiques. I'm not a huge snooker fan, Vienna, but I do like when Ronnie O'Sullivan talks to the media. It's often fun. Keith Anderson is watching. We've got a whole bunch of people from across the pond that are watching us. Tweet us with the hashtag WatchCity.
Absolutely, we'll get to those all night long as they come in. I have to admit, I'm not up on my snooker knowledge. That's the one with a whole bunch of red balls on the table, right?
Red and pink and black and white and all the rest. Yes, that's the one that
But
I couldn't tell.
It's like pool, but there's a lot of balls on the table.
And they wear tuxedos.
Do they really?
Or vests.
Okay.
Where you get dolled up and wear the snooker vest. It's very posh. But I will say this: whether it's the Crucible in Sheffield, where the World Championships are played, or when they come down to London as well, very well attended, and it's growing in the Far East as well. China huge in the snooker market, and so that may be a sport or a game that we hear more of in terms of money as snooker continues to grow. High line for City here, forcing the Glens front line to stay forward, guarding against that long ball.
Now Detroit City FC will send it back to the keeper Miller again. Dargent.
Whoops, you know what? We didn't get a notification of a sub, but I think perhaps Dwayne Nelson, number 2, is, or number 20. It might be in the nets for Glentoran, and he will get a catch. We'll take a look at a number when the punt is made downfield.
Absolutely.
We do have a new keeper for Glentoran. The keeper, number 20, Dwayne Nelson. He's made 5 senior appearances for the Glens this season. The able-bodied backup for Elliot Morris, who, as we talked about earlier in the day, one of the career leaders in appearances for Glentoran FC. 652 times he's put on the cock and hen shirt.
Dwayne Nelson as well, certainly no stranger to the Premiership as well. 10 years of service in the Northern Irish Premiership. Here comes Jeff Atkins through the middle again. Atkins trying to go through the last line of defense for Glentoran. Dargent to the middle. He has it stripped. Here comes McQuegan. Omar Sinclair trying to run out. Instead it was taken away from Sinclair. It's moved into the box. Some good possession from Salou Jallo. Jallo goes to the turf.
Long run, he needed a rest. And he'll pick himself up.
Couple of substitutions coming in for Detroit City. Seb Harris will come into the game, as will Tyler Moorman. At the next opportunity, as the guys begin to get loose. Seb Harris, Detroit City football legend, became a father in the offseason. That ball served up to Tommy Catalano with a touch. And the save is made by Dwayne Nelson. Catalano dangerous.
It's in play. City overrun it. Nice job there coming out and claiming Dwayne Nelson. You know, we realize he's into the match. We talk about him and he comes out, he makes a play. So difficult sometimes for keepers to really know in a situation like that whether they should charge the ball or wait. He took the chance, came out, was able to make the body big and make the save. A nice job from the reserve keeper for the Glens.
Now the substitutions come on.
Coming off for Detroit City is Tommy Catalano. His race is run. Set to come on for the Glens is number 12.
Onel Delaney come into the game. Back into the game, we should say.
He took some time in the early going, and now he's back on the pitch. He comes out for, I believe, Jalou.
That is the case.
And so we've played 65 minutes here, still goalless at Keyworth Stadium. He's Neil Rule, I'm John Krieger, and we're glad wherever you're watching in this world tonight, whether it's from East Belfast or from here in southeastern Michigan, thanks for being with us. Omar Sinclair with a little strut there. He does play with some swagger along the back line, Omar. A feast or famine defender at times, but he can make the big play.
Sinclair, the native of Manchester, England, GLIAC honorable mention as a freshman. All GLIAC honorable mention as a freshman from Saginaw Valley State. As we will take this opportunity to take a look at the upcoming games for Detroit City FC. A huge one coming up on Friday night as Grand Rapids FC rolls into town. And Detroit City FC will hit the road to take on FC Indiana. The Columbus Crew will come in for their yearly friendly. And then Kalamazoo FC will be in town. But John, make no mistake, and the fans will make no mistake about it, a huge, huge weekend coming up for Detroit City. If they want to get into things with a shout, they have to take care of some business this weekend coming up.
Yeah, 2 points from their opening 9. You need to put points on the board. You need to get some wins. You need to play better after halftime. We've seen that from them tonight. Now, granted, the starting 11 for Ben Pierman might have been a little bit different than what you'd see on a league night, but the injection of pace, Roddy Green coming in, some extra fresh blood in midfield. We've seen City be able to keep the intensity up, and that's better than what we saw against Milwaukee Torrent or Dayton Dynamo in their final preseason friendly. So positives here for Detroit City. They need to convert this, however, to the league when the pressure's back on.
That foul will go against LaRouge. Let's look at Jonathan Smith. Had 7 goals this year for Glentoran, tied for 13th in the Premiership in the goals department.
Apparently, Neil, there are 500 people watching us tonight in the Dundela Social Club. They're all supporting the Glens, and we've got a packed house full in the Dundela Social Club. They say hi, we say hi back. Glad to have you up after 1 in the morning.
Here comes the move for Roddy Green. Green trying to find some space, and the ball was touched away from him. Now it's given away to Spencer Glass. Green steps through. Green, back heel to Glass. Dargent. Mormon. Sinclair spinning around.
And gets closed down. A lot of passing, a lot of trying to find the perfect pass. There was some space there. I go back to the start of that. Roddy Green, I think, may have had a step. And he stopped up and decided to try and wait for a runner. I'd like to see the angle that he was being closed down at again. But Roddy Green looked like he had some gas in the tank to try to go in 1v1 and make something happen in the area. He turned it in, started that play, and then City passed it into a crowd of defenders, and that's what happened.
Also with the hashtag WatchCity, Ryan McDowell won. There you go, Ryan. There's your shout out.
Not to mention, shout outs requested for Sydenham and Glens. Sydenham and Glens watching for Northern Ireland tonight. They use the hashtag WatchCity. Thanks for being up with us here at 2:06 a.m. Belfast time. We've got 21 minutes left to play. And that's a nice job by the Glens to keep possession in midfield and move forward. Watch the wings here. If they can get it forward, they'll chip it in.
Miller will come off the line to make the grab. And really, John, that's been the story. Other than the Miller moment, probably about 15 or 20 minutes ago, it's been pretty much exclusively Detroit City FC with the possession.
Yeah, absolutely. Ben Pierman's got to be happy with this. This team has gotten better after halftime, probably for the first time this season. And that's what they need to do. Watch Glass bomb forward, and they're going to find him. Nice chip there. And they find the fullback, Spencer Glass, coming forward. And he's able to go into the corner and then loses control. And there's a Glentoran player down. But Spencer Glass coming forward, knowing that there wasn't much danger behind him. He could bomb forward and get into the attack and be a body and chip a ball and make something happen. If your fullbacks can get that kind of joy and that kind of space, good things happen. That's a heads-up play by a very heady player in Glass.
Now Romondi will come into the game for Detroit City. First time I've had the opportunity to see him this year. Native of South Africa, Cyrus Sadie will come out in the 71st minute.
He comes to City, Mondi does, from the University of Northwestern Ohio. And Cyrus, I think he deserves a break.
Absolutely. Cyrus Sadie will take a seat.
Also coming off the pitch for Glentoran, number 11. That's Corey McMullen. And I think it was Paul O'Neill coming back into things that will take his place. Currently being marked by both City center backs as Glentoran plays a little bit of Route 1 football there, and Route 1 just got closed down by the City defense.
The ball touched ahead. Tyler Mormon trying to make a play. We got a Twitter check-in from our good buddy Gus Macker. Says work ran late today here in Key Largo, but Watch City is blasting on the houseboat now. I feel you, Gus Macker, lounging on there in Key Largo. That ball into the box and a diving save. May touched wide of the right post. Dwayne Nelson up to the challenge.
And Tyrone Mundy staying with the play. The first save, and he stayed with it. The header just came off the side of the head and lashed wide. Mundy first puts the ball in. A little sliding save there. He stays with the play. And it might have been helped away by James Farron, the center back, who had the boot high. We'll take another look.
Well, that ball almost snuck between the legs of Dwayne Nelson.
And it was helped away, so it'll be a city corner.
Here we go. Mondi to serve it. Mondi plays it in, and it's headed over top of the cage by Seb Harris, who's always the target on every single corner kick ever taken when he's in the game.
But I'll tell you what, Seb gave a little clap to Monday, and he should. It was a well-placed ball. It allowed Seb to rise and meet it. He just couldn't finish with the header and lashed it over top of the crossbar. But a nice ball in the curving corner from Monday. I like that ball.
Seb Harris, been with Detroit City FC since 2014, played some pro overseas, the former Golden Grizzly.
Look at City winning the physical advantage in midfield. Dargent, Adkins, going up against stronger counterparts from Glentoran. They make me look bad with a bit of a turnover there, and McGuigan in some space, but he loses the ball on the plastic pitch and shepherding it out of play for City is Kervin Kenton.
Now it's time for tonight's attendance, brought to you by Rip It Energy. 5,067 here on hand at Keyworth Stadium tonight. Big thank you to everybody for coming out. Big thank you to those watching at home as well. 5,067. Tonight's attendance brought to you by Rip It Energy.
Well done, fans tonight. It's worth noting, by the way, 5,067 fans in attendance this evening. That was around the average attendance for the Detroit Cougars in 1967. And it's Glentoran and a fourth-tier club here in the United States drawing that kind of support tonight. Anyone who says that grassroots football isn't alive and well needs only look at the crowd here tonight at Keyworth Stadium to say that there is a strong presence in the city of taking holds.
Ball will trickle over the sideline. Another throw-in coming in for Detroit City. We will get a new goalkeeper on for LaRouge as Joe Smith will come into the game and replace Colin Miller. Smith played in 3 contests last year for Detroit City FC.
Zach Wopoff watching us with the hashtag WatchCity. He's complimenting the singing and the movements of Northern Guard. He's a New York Cosmos fan. He wants a Cosmos friendly. Well, we've got Venezia coming in the end of the year. Maybe there's a wait list. We'd love to have...
I know the Cosmos, they're headed over to Saudi Arabia. Just checking in on Sirius XMFC. We were talking about that. The Cosmos will be headed over to Saudi Arabia to play a friendly. The next 15 minutes are presented by Strategic Staffing Solutions, sponsor of the S3 Beer Garden here at Keyworth Stadium, and as well, sponsor of the DCFC International Series that we're seeing here tonight against Glentoran FC. You mentioned it, Serie B side, Venezia will be in July. That's also part of the DCFC International Series, brought to you by Strategic Staffing Solutions. Big thank you to everyone at Strategic Staffing Solutions for everything that they have done. They've really made these international friendlies go. And really, John, if you look at it, we got to talk to Roy Coyle here today, one of the legendary managers in the history of Irish football. Of course, Filippo Inzaghi will be in with Venezia, who won the 2006 World Cup, of course, with Italy. Revered Italian League striker as well.
You know what it says to me? Because Venezia, one of the proud clubs in Italy, down in Serie B, having been promoted, but they're willing to come in and play Detroit City and be a part of this international series presented by Strategic Staffing Solutions. City was started by 5 friends who said Detroit needs a football club and put their money where their mouth was and bought into the NPSL. And now we have an English club last year in FC United of Manchester, Glentoran here tonight, Venezia later this year, all coming in.
Storied franchises.
That's a validation of what's happening here. And Sean Mann and David Doihy and Alex Wright, the rest of the DCFC ownership group should be very proud. So come for DCFC Venezia, stay for Roma PSG the next day at Sim Stadium downtown. But that'll be where it's at.
There's a right foot shot that will trickle wide of the left bar. So again, Tyler Moorman with a dangerous opportunity. Detroit City FC, though, John, buzzing here in the second half. We're over 32 minutes in. to the second half, and Detroit City FC certainly has had the better of play.
They have, and they've been more physical. I didn't think that was going to be the case. I thought Glentoran might push City off the ball a little bit. They haven't trained in a month, but they're a little more physical out there, and City have stayed right with them, and City have had the better joy. Their defenders have been able to move forward a little more. The midfield's been able to close Glentoran down and get the counterattack. A nice job there, and a nice job by the City back line as well to stay composed.
A little dangerous.
Quick moment there as I'm talking about it, first of the commentator. But City have kept their legs, and if you're Ben Pierman, I remember him talking to us at halftime of the Milwaukee Torrent game when we thought City were dominant in the opening half when they were up 1-0 at the break, and he wasn't happy when he talked to Lindsey Pearson. He was upset. He said we were sloppy. I need to see more. They haven't been sloppy tonight. They've been more composed.
He certainly has seen more. There's no doubt about it. More tweets with the hashtag Watch City. NGS Louisville, our good friend, tweets in, says, I've missed Sebi on the corners, and I'm with you on that. The corners certainly have a different look. And number 4, Seb Harris, is in the game as Tyler Moorman is taken down. And this will be another dangerous free kick situation for Detroit City FC. How many times can you go to the well if you're Glentoran?
Well, 28 yards from goal. What you need is Jeff Adkins to give us good service. That's what needs to happen. And it all depends on where Glentoran sets their line and how much they have. And by the way, we're going to say hello to the Bethany Chip Shop, sending their love to Glentoran. I could do for some fish and chips. Send them over. Nice job. Look at Moorman, still trying to fight for the ball. Defender has his hand up around his neck, and he's still working. James Farron commits the professional foul and kind of closes the defender down. But nice job by Moorman to fight for that ball, try to keep the play alive.
Here we go. Mondi will take it. Right-footed shot into the wall. And it will be a corner for Detroit City. Zach Wolpoff tweets at us, said, yes, the Cosmos already did play in Saudi Arabia. They drew 0-0 in a dust storm.
I prefer smoke. That's a dust.
Clifford Logan tweets in, says 5,067 attendance is a little freaky. 50th anniversary of the Cougars tour of 67. I'm never good at that. I can never figure that stuff out.
That's very good.
So here comes another corner.
Let's see what Mondi can do here. Where's Sebi on this? Near the back post.
Foreman up front. Dargent tried to knock that one down. Mondi will swing it back out to the corner taker. And Atkins has his pocket picked.
But then he stays with it and closes the defender down, and City gets a throw. If you're going to make a mistake, fine. But don't make a mistake and then pout about it. Stay with the play and get back on the ball. And he was able to turn things around and get possession right back to City without the defenders having to drop back. You can still keep the pressure on.
We also got a tweet here from Clifford Logan. And I'm curious to check this out, so I'll go ahead and give it the plug. He says, check out playingfortheshirt.net, a history of all the Glens jerseys, including the original Cougars. So you can go to playingfortheshirt.net. I'll give him the plug. Why not, man? When you're up that late,
you get a plug.
You get a plug, man. That's just the way it is.
By the way, those Cougars jerseys, the one failure that perhaps the ownership in 1967 had, and here's a little flick on. And the City needs to clear their lines. Hoof it out of there, lads.
Foul is called.
Don't get too cute in that along that back line. You have attackers bombing. You have attackers forward there asking questions of you, and you're trying to play a little ball over your head. Put it into Rosette and refocus. When you're playing in front of your keeper and your keeper had already come out and wasn't going to make a play on that ball.
Joe Smith will put the boot to it. 82nd minute. Neil Rule, John Krieger with you. Happy to have you along. Wherever you're watching around the world. We've been getting the tweets from everyone around the world. Long ball served up again. We'll take the high hop, and Seb Harris cleans house in the 18.
But he cleaned house cleanly.
Absolutely.
That was the difference.
And Jeff Atkins with a nice move. He goes around Hamill. Moorman, left side. Moorman cuts across. Moorman will go down. And a penalty has been awarded. Here in the 83rd minute, a penalty awarded Tyler Mormon was doing work with the possession, and we'll take another look at it.
Let's take a look at this. The Glentoran keeper in a bit indignant. There's contact there. He waits. That's a penalty for the home side and a friendly. But
here comes Jeff Atkins now.
We'll take it.
With an opportunity on the penalty in a 0-0 game in the 83rd minute. Here we go. Can Atkins deliver? No, the door is closed by Dwayne Nelson.
Nice job by Nelson to read Adkins, make the body big and make the save. City now 0 for 2 on pens for the season, having missed a penalty earlier in the year against Michigan Stars. And here's Adkins' little stutter step. The keeper isn't fooled by it, dives and makes a save. Well placed, but a nice job by the keeper to get down and deny.
Dwayne Nelson answers the bell for Glentoran FC to keep this match 0-0. That ball is loose and Nelson out again.
He's playing fast and loose, was coming out of his 6-yard box to challenge.
There's
Nelson.
Tries to settle things down. That ball trickles across the line, throw in for Glentoran.
And in the middle of all that, Ross Redmond was rather rudely cleaned out as the ball goes out of play and City escaped the foul. Friendly to a point here at Keyworth Stadium tonight.
Ask Ross Redmond right now if he's feeling very friendly as he hobbles over for the throw-in. We're getting some tweets about that as well. Fans very appreciative of the effort here in the friendly. So it's not too often you see bookings. And there's been multiple bookings here today.
Yeah, and our officials have kept a lid on it. And sometimes, in a friendly situation, you'll see a referee not want to give a booking, not want to make it about him. But you have to do that to keep the game flowing and safe and not too chippy. And our referee tonight has done a very good job.
Carl Hamill will escort that one out of bounds off the foot of Jeff Adkins. The officials here tonight: Nick Balser, the head referee; Igor Resnick, the assistant; Adrian McDonald, the other assistant; and the fourth official is Adam Carlson.
Gavin Anderson on Twitter makes a very good point, and I think probably the truest tweet and point of the night. I think both sides have made new fans from both sides of the Atlantic, and I think you're absolutely right, Gavin. I'll be watching the Glens next year. Yep.
There's no doubt. I will take a vested interest. Glentoran FC and see where they stack up. The Northern Irish Premiership.
85th minute. Here comes the smoke. Perhaps another Max Todd special, even though Max not with us this evening.
Here comes Mormon into the box. Mormon shot. It's loose. Atkins steps into it, crosses and misses the post. Mormon settles it down. Mormon shot. It's in the back of the net. A goal for Detroit City. Tyler Mormon.
Everybody from City stayed with that play. They stayed with the play. They kept the pressure on. And Tyler Mormon puts it in the top corner. No keeper's going to stop that one. Well done to the young man. Well done to City for buzzing around the goal. And Tyler Mormon opens the account for Le Black and Orange tonight. Le Rouge. City take the 1-0 leads with a beautiful strike. And here comes the replay. Look at Mormon. Gets around a man, has a defender on him. Keeper screened a little bit, I think. There's a defender in front of him, but it wouldn't have mattered if it was screened or not. The way he gets the boot into this, watch him turn, plant, and strike. That's in the top corner. That's unsavable. It's a fittingly beautiful strike to end, or hopefully end, this friendly for City. Near to the death. City now have to hold on for just 3 minutes and a little bit of stoppage time. Well done, Tyler Mormon. First class strike.
Seb Harris settles that ball down. We'll play it back to the keeper, Smith, and Smith makes a bit of a mess of it for a second, just sends it out towards midfield. So Tyler Mormon, who scored a goal last year for Detroit City FC in 10 matches played, strikes here today. 1-0 GCFC now with the lead here in the 88th minute.
Played back to the keeper. City just trying to keep the ball. And this is, we talk about playing well in midfield as Glentoran get a free kick here, and so City will have to come back and defend. You talk about playing in midfield, trying to score, trying to finish, but just as equally as protecting. They've got 2 minutes and change to play this out and get a win. The first win since the regular season began, even though it's a friendly. City need this. And they need to play defense well. Keep the high line here on the free kick. Clear your lines and run out the clock.
So here's a big situation. Right foot stopped up front by Mundy on the wall. So Eric Foley has his attempt foiled. Throw in for the Glens.
Control it, get it out of there. Don't be cute. Hoof it.
John McGough. As it touched away, be another throw in for the Glens.
City.
Shallow.
Keep your lines.
Harris will head that one high in the air. Dargent goes down and the foul is called here in the 89th minute.
And I am quite sure that City will inspect every stitch on the football before they take this free kick.
Well, you just want to make sure everything's official.
And yes, up to playing standards.
Absolutely.
As we go inside the final minute of play, it's just part of the game. But full credit to Glentoran. After the goal, friendly, you're the away side. You might switch off and let the home side have a win. Not so. Glentoran keeping the foot on the accelerator and making City earn this. And that's a testament to Gary Haverin and the work ethic he's instilling at that club. They're not done playing, and they're still out there playing physically here as City have the chance to move it forward into space.
And that catch will be made by Dwayne Nelson. Gary Haverin, of course, the manager named back in September of 2016. We got a chance to talk with him before the match here. And make no mistake, his words, he knows exactly what's at stake. He knows what's on the table. And this is a guy that's been very successful. Led the Carrick Rangers to a treble in 2014-15 where they won the NIFL championship, the Steel and Sons Cup, and the Intermediate Cup. It will be sooner rather than later that you think that Gary Haverin will have this Glentoran side sorted out. And he came in and he said, I want to put my stamp on this club. You're seeing it with the signings that are coming in. No sooner did the season end where he's basically flipping around this roster to do just that, to put his stamp on it as we're in stoppage time.
Absolutely. Here, City just trying to go all hands to the pumps, keep it away from their end of things and wrap up a victory. But Gary Haverin coming in, he is using this trip as a chance to start for next season. He said, we need to be better. He's done his European coaching badges. He wants to be able to lead Glentoran in that direction. They finished nearly 40 points behind their arch rival, Linfield, in the last Downsbank Premiership season. I think with Gary Haverin at the helm, you'll see a lot more.
That play is whistled down. And for all the Glens fans, make sure you keep in touch with GlensTV, Glentoran's official YouTube channel. You get highlights, interviews, and training videos throughout the season. So go on YouTube and search out GlensTV. You can stay in touch. There's a look at the Detroit City FC bench. We are in stoppage time. I wouldn't imagine there'd be too much.
You know, full credit to our officials tonight for being true to the actual stoppages we had. We had a lot of stoppages here in the second half. Normally in a friendly, you get past 90 minutes and they'll want to blow the whistle. And our referee looks like he's getting close, but he's given the Glens the time they've well and truly earned to try to get an equalizer here tonight.
Remember, you can send your tweets with the hashtag WatchCity. Read those as the evening progresses. We're happy to have you along wherever you've been watching. It's been a lot of fun. LaRouge and this historic side, Glentoran FC.
Look at Dargent just holding it up against 3 Glentoran players. Just keeping the ball, knowing he doesn't have to do a whole lot with it. The only thing he can't do is lose the football. And ate up some time there, and then it goes out of play, and Glentoran have a throw. They should be given the chance to complete this attack, but we've got to be getting close to the end of stoppage time here. So they'll need to be quick about it and send the ball forward.
We have paid homage to soccer here in America tonight. Glentoran FC, formerly known as the Detroit Cougars, back in 1967, competed and really exposed the United States to the game of soccer in a league format. And it's been a lot of fun, all the pomp and circumstance, everything that's gone along with it. It's been great to have all the Glen supporters with us here tonight.
It's worth noting that the Glens well and truly earned their place in that league. They were playing against sides like Cagliari from Italy, Stoke City, Dundee United from Scotland, Wolverhampton Wanderers were in that league over here, Sunderland, who were until this season a Premier League outfit, and the Glens well and truly had earned their place, and they've shown themselves proud here tonight as well.
Here's Jeff Atkins with the control. The side of the D, tried to thread the needle on the pass. The whistle sounds, we have reached full time, and Detroit City FC gets the victory over Glentoran FC by the score of 1-0. As we honor the Detroit Cougars in the special Detroit Cougars kits. And Le Rouge with the win here tonight, 1-0.
You know what, it's a friendly, Neil, it's a tribute, it's a celebration, but it's also a win. That's something that we haven't seen against an NPSL side for City this season. And you get a win. They drew against Dayton Dynamo in their last friendly. They drew 2 to start the league season against Milwaukee Torrent and Michigan Stars, and they fell to AFC Ann Arbor. But now, against a club that plays in a division far above the NPSL, the City lads came out, and Moorman strike a fitting winner. Van Peerman can use this feeling as they go back into NPSL competition.
Dave Stewart on Twitter says, good luck to Detroit City for the rest of your season from all the boys at the UIM Glentoran Supporters Club, as we take a look at the stats from tonight's match, brought to you by Watch City. 14 shots for Detroit City, 5 for Glentoran. And John, that was a number that really jumps off the page at you. And that was a number that was much more even after the first 45. Detroit City FC really flipped the script, as you said, from what their season has been to this point. They came out in the second half, really took care of business. They pressured Glentoran, and Moorman able to get the strike to take the 1-0 lead.
Louis Dargent in midfield, Broderick Green up front, Lawson, Seb Harris coming into the lineup. Pace, 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 tactical success. Everything Ben Peerman would want after halftime. A great performance and a dominating performance on the pitch and the stat sheet.
Let's take a look at the upcoming matches. Of course, this weekend looms large for Detroit City on Friday night. Grand Rapids FC in town, as they will pick play back up in the NPSL. And then on Sunday, they will hit the road to take on FC Indiana. And we can't say it enough, John. Tons on the line this weekend. Really, with Detroit City's championship hopes, their backs against the wall. They have to answer the bell this weekend.
6 points from 6 points. Sometimes you go on the road, you need to get a draw or try to go for one. City can't do it, needs 6 from 6.
Right now, our sideline reporter, Lindsey Pearson, standing by with head coach Ben Peerman. Lindsey.
Thanks, Neil. I'm actually with man of the match, Tyler Moorman. Tyler, walk us through that goal at the end there.
Well, our defense did a good job of winning a 50-50 ball. And I think they found Jeff. And Jeff dribbled a guy and found me with the ball, and then just finished it from there. So defense did a good job of winning it, as we'd been working all week, defense first. And our defense did a great job keeping them to no goals all game. And then the goal just came in the end. So props to the defense for that.
And this is your first game back after coming off of an injury. How do you feel?
Feeling good. I mean, Ben gave me a chance to play. I wasn't sure if that was going to happen because I was out for an injury, but he did, and I'm glad I got the chance.
And what's it like playing in a match like this with so much significance for Detroit soccer and for Glentoran?
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, we had a couple events with Glentoran, and those were fun, getting to know the guys, and then just come out here and have the fans be awesome and make the environment great as always for us. It's just fun. It's exciting playing in these games, and I'm looking forward to our next match as well, so it's fun.
Thanks, Tyler. Great job out there.
Thank you.
Okay, and now we're joined by head coach Ben Peerman, making his way slowly over here. Hey, Ben. Good result for your team tonight, but this game was about the Detroit Cougars and the significance of Detroit soccer history. What are your thoughts on not only your team performance, but the match tonight and what it meant for you?
I mean, firstly, our performance was spot on. We needed a rebound after a bad game in Ann Arbor. We played 23 players, and they all played very hard. Alex referenced it at halftime about we're honoring something 50 years ago that we probably wouldn't be playing here tonight if it weren't for that group and those guys that we got to honor right there. So I think our guys saw that and put it on the line. So Glentoran's a great club. They do a very good job in East Belfast. Their coach does a great job. They're great people. And I think it just shows the sentiment from the last 50 years about why we're here. And you see all this stuff going on. Our supporters are having it. Their supporters are great. So incredible event. I'm just pretty humbled to be a part of it. Just that was the sentiment for most people from both clubs. I think it's one of those events where you step back and you look, yeah, this game was a very good game, and the 90 minutes was really exciting, and I thought we played really well. But it's more than that. And so, our supporters grasped that. The whole evening was really fantastic.
Thanks, Ben. And last interview here, Glentoran manager Gary Havrin. Gary, how was this experience? What was this experience like? The game and the weekend overall for your club?
It's been amazing from start to finish. The way we've been looked after by Detroit City, you literally couldn't do any more for us. Everybody who's worked who's put the work in to make this happen deserves a massive pat on the back. The fans are very, very unique. I've never seen fans like that, in all my time in football. They sung from the first whistle to the last whistle, and they deserve a lot of credit. And it was a good game. It was an enjoyable game. Our younger players will learn so much not there from this experience, and we'll take this away with us, and this will be something they'll remember forever.
Thanks, Gary.
Thank you.
Neil, back to you.
Thank you very much, Lindsay, as you hear from all the participants this evening in what was a historic match, Detroit City FC with the 1-0 win. As we take a look at the highlights from tonight's match, it was a first half that saw some chances on both sides and really a friendly match, John, that saw a lot of physicality and 4 bookings.
Yeah, 4 bookings and physical play, but great play there by John McGuigan to try to move forward. He thought he should have had a penalty decision in the area. The referee said no. City coming back the other way. Great ball there from Cyrus Sadie, trying to come in and get something going. And City was able to keep their foot on the accelerator, especially after halftime. And there's Mondi with another. He was a great addition after halftime as well. He went close but couldn't finish. And then we get into Tyler Moorman's strike. And Tyler Moorman, the man of the match, the winner in the 85th minute.
So let's take a look here at the U.S. Air Force weekend recap. As Detroit City FC gets the win here tonight by the score of 1-0.
And you can go to Detroit City.
Always brought to you by airforce.com.
And you can go to, of course, DetroitCityFC.com for the weekend recap. The DCFC staff writers will have everything you need to know from this weekend, and a great friendly win for City.
So 1-0, Detroit City FC sends over 5,000 fans home happy here today against a quality Northern Irish Premiership side in Glentoran FC. But maybe more important than the result of one game was honoring the game of soccer here in America. Glentoran FC, of course, the former Detroit Cougars from 1967. And that closes the book on a great weekend of action. So from our broadcast partner, John Krieger, and our entire crew here with Detroit City FC, my name is Neil Rule, reminding you one final time, DCFC with the 1-0 win. Thank you for watching, everybody. Well, see you later. We ain't never getting older.